Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of History as It Happens. I'm your host, Paige Blackdeer, and today I'm here with a guest. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Linda Heller. I'm the chairman of the Jackson County Democratic Party in Black River Falls.
Okay. So that's your name and title. So a couple questions that I got from Mr. Ricken for these interviews. Would you like to tell me where you were born and how long you've been in this county?
Okay, so I was born in Loma Linda, California, 1943, and I moved to Jackson County in 1984. So I've lived here not quite 40 years.
Okay. When did you first become interested in politics?
Seriously, in the late 80s, about 86, 87.
I think you muted for a second.
Anyway, I'll get back. So anyway, I was attracted to the Republican Party because of a friend, and so that's when I got involved.
Mm-hmm. So have you always been affiliated with the party you are today?
No, as I said, I was got involved with the Republican Party in the late 80s, and I was actually chairman of the Jackson County Republican Party for 2 terms. I left that party in early 1990s because of the growth of the Right to Life and the Christian Coalition. I didn't agree with their politics, and so I left.
The next question is, when did you get involved in the politics of this county?
So I got involved with the Democratic Party in 2008 with the election of Obama, and I lived in Alma Center at the time, and I worked with the chair of the Democratic Party to take over, just to do the Alma Center area, and I put together a group of, I called them my Obama Mamas, and we helped in Alma Center to elect Obama in 2008, and then again in 2000, what was that, 12, I guess. And so, yeah, I've been involved with the Democratic Party since 2008.
Okay. And you said you're the chair lady of the party?
Yes, I was elected chairman in 2019. I decided I wanted to run precisely because I felt that I had skills and talents that would help our party get behind now President Biden.
Yes. Okay. The next question is, if you were talking to a young person like me, how or what would you say to convince me that your party is the best choice for me?
So you're a senior in high school, right? You're soon going to graduate.
Yes.
So one of the things that the Democratic Party tries to do is to look forward to how we can solve problems for real people. So one of our particular interests here in Jackson County, but also nationally, is childcare. And you, as a young person, one of these days in the not too distant future, you're going to get married, and probably you're going to have children, and maybe you'll even have a career that's outside the home. and you would like to be able to do all three of those things. Childcare will be really, really important for you. Good, reliable childcare. Now, maybe you're one of the lucky ones and you have family members that can provide you with that. But if you have to put your child in a child care center, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because right now all the child care providers have 8 to 10 children on the waiting list. So what we're trying to do here in Jackson County is to not only help those providers that we have currently do a better job, but also to increase the number of providers. And that's, we've already been working on, I shouldn't say, when I say we, I really mean the Jackson County Task Force. We as a party just getting involved with it. But I've been involved with it personally for a long time, because I am also a director for the Green Life Expo Sustainability. And we've worked with Mary Ann Torkelson for a long time in trying to improve our childcare problems, because when you have good childcare, that means that women can work outside the home. So I know that that would be a big benefit to you as the years come on. Right now it's not important, but that's one issue particularly that I would say would be very, very important to you in the coming years, and reason enough to consider supporting the Democratic Party.
Okay, so getting into the main topic, I'd like to give some background to the listeners. In 2016, Donald Trump was elected president, and to his supporters, this was a big win, but to others, it was quite the loss. Our country had become quite polarized in the past few years, and the election of 2016 did not make it any better. Throughout the next 4 years, a lot happened, some good, some bad. And within Trump's 4 years, he was impeached. And as we approached 2020, things started to heat up. Prior to the election in Black River, there was a lot of advertising for both sides. And my first question is your take on all of the signage and advertising in town and in the county.
Well, first of all the political signs are supposed to be down 10 days after election. As you can see, there are, if you drive around, there are no Biden signs out. There's no Ron Kind signs. They were all taken down. Trump, Republicans leave the Trump signs up because they can. And the reason why they can is because our local government won't go in and tell them to take them down. So that's why we have so many Republican signs up. What is my feel about it? I feel that all the signs should come down that are candidate signs. There are our sign that we put up this summer, public education makes a great nation. That was our sign. We felt gave a positive message to the role of education, not only here in Jackson County, but also in the nation. If you don't have a well-educated population, it is likely to fall into authoritarian hands. I am not particularly pleased, but confused about the sign that the Republicans put up about
I've seen
public education. I think that's really a stupid thing to say, but it goes along with some of the other rhetoric that we hear at school board meetings. And I understand that there is now a full-page ad in the Shopper denigrating Mrs. Severson and the school board. So yeah, there you go again. And for your information, Shelley never told me or any of my members to stack the supporters. But a lot of people were contacted. I contacted people, but I probably could count on one hand the actual people that I contacted. But there were people being contacted all over for the October board meeting.
Yeah.
About 75 in support. We had about 75 people in support of Dr. Severson and 35 opposed.
All right. So moving on, specifically for the election of 2020, how were you feeling, and maybe as a Democratic in general, how were people feeling before the election, so leading up to it?
Well, I mean, no different than any election. You always want to want your candidate to win. I mean, and you work hard to make that happen. Just like when you run for office in your high school, and if you get elected, you're really excited, and if you lose, you're really disappointed. Well, so we were very excited when Biden won. We didn't, getting back to 2016, yeah, we were disappointed that Hillary Clinton didn't win, but we never questioned Trump's winning. So when Trump questions the election of Biden, to me, that's completely ridiculous. He was definitely, the election was one of the fairest, cleanest elections we've ever had. And in fact, in 10 years, they can only, all the millions of people who have voted in 10 years, they could only find and convict 29 people. So 2020 was not a fake election. Everyone did their job. All the poll workers and the municipal clerks all did their job, not just in Wisconsin, but all over the United States. And Biden was elected fair and square.
Yes. Okay. So I'd assume you'd voted for Biden. And what was your reasoning for that?
Well, people were concerned about his age. But I felt that his experience and his knowledge as a past senator and a vice president, you bring that kind of experience to the table, and that's a huge thing. And I really felt that he was the best person from the very beginning. I was disappointed the way the first part of the primaries went. Excuse me, but I felt that I was pleased that he won, and I think he continues to do an outstanding job.
So do you think it was voting for him, or do you think it was more like voting against the opponent?
Probably a little bit of both. I voted for Biden. But I also felt that, considering the kind of president that I thought Trump was, that we needed somebody with Biden's experience to try to pull the country back together, to try to straighten things out, and to move forward with our democracy, move forward with the needs of for our people. Yes, did I want to get rid of Trump? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We all worked our buns off to not just to promote Biden with the hope of getting rid of Trump. But I guess I would say I voted for Biden than against Trump.
Okay. I know that I think some younger people, it was more of a voting against Trump kind of thing. That's what I saw a lot of. because I don't think what I've seen is that some people, they're not his, like, they weren't, they didn't think that he was the ideal candidate, but they thought that he was a much better option than Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know that a lot of people were disappointed that Sanders didn't win or
Mhm.
Elizabeth Warren didn't win.
Mhm.
And I can understand why those candidates would be more attractive. I have friends who were highly disappointed that
Mhm.
he didn't make it. I
Mhm.
mean, that those two candidates didn't make it. But I guess with Bernie Sanders, I was concerned because he wasn't a Democrat, and he's quite outspoken, that he might cause more of a disruption than a solution.
Mhm.
And Elizabeth Warren can run again.
Mhm. Very true. Moving on to the next question. So how were you feeling when you found out the results of election? Do you have a story? Like, where were you when you found out? Were you waiting?
I was home. We did
Mhm.
not have a victory party because of COVID.
Mhm.
Everybody just stayed home. And no, I did not stay up until the bitter end.
Mhm.
I went to bed early and got up and learned the news. So was I happy? Yes, I was very
Mhm.
happy. But I was very relieved
Mhm.
because I felt that now we could really bring our country back to some common sense and to
Mhm.
move forward with real programs.
Mhm. I know that when I found out, I was at my boyfriend's house, and he has a very like Democratic family, and I'm also quite Democratic myself. But we were sitting around watching the TV and like waiting for like the final like count to come in, and then they were really into it. So they had like little like confetti poppers. It was a pretty good time.
Good. I
Mhm.
think it's fun, and we hope to be able to have a victory party
Mhm.
for the 2022. Well, actually, for today's elections, we're all
Mhm.
on pins and needles as
Mhm.
to who's going to win the school board, because
Oh
that's
yeah.
really critical. I'm looking at that as a sort of a weather vane as to how, because one of the things I've been trying to do for the last year
Mhm.
is to promote a positive message. Um, you've seen our billboard
Mhm. I think so.
thanking all of the workers
Mhm.
uh, help us stay healthy and safe.
Mhm.
Um, we want to present a positive message, because I know. Well, this gets back to your question that maybe you're going to ask about January 6th.
Mhm.
But I feel that there's a lot of Republicans who watched that January 6th insurrection and were appalled.
Mhm.
And I would like to help those people and independents vote Democrat.
Mhm.
They don't have to become a member of the party,
Mhm.
but would you just vote Democrat? Because I'm scared to death of what would happen if.
Mhm.
So, what happens to the school board if any of those people from that Jackson Education, whatever
Mhm.
that name is, they're taking? I'm concerned that they will not be taking their direction
Mhm.
or their advice from the
Mhm.
state or from the school board president or from the superintendent.
Mhm.
They'll be taking from other people outside of education.
Yeah. I recently went to the school board forum, and I have to say I was not super impressed with most of the candidates. So I have to say I'm with you on that. it was like shocking to go there and hear like some of the the answers for the questions that they were asked. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Yeah. We have been promoting Ithakar,
Mhm,
Memon, and Brad Dodd.
mhm,
And because they both believe in following
mhm,
the CDC recommendations
mhm,
and seem more willing to work with the school board and be a positive influence. The
mhm,
others are anti-maskers. That's why they got started. They
mhm,
have been just a pain in Dr. Severson's rear end. And
mhm,
I think the ad that they put in the shopper uh,
mhm,
uh, spells out that.
mhm. Very true. So like you said, I do have a question about the January 6th event. So how did you feel about that? That was definitely like quite the thing.
Did you watch it live? Did you watch it live while it was going on?
I tried to.
Well, I watched it live from beginning
Mhm,
to end, and
mhm,
holy moly, honest to
mhm,
God, it was awful.
mhm,
And it hasn't gotten any better.
mhm,
It continues with all of the clips that we get and all the
mhm,
information that we learn. It's just appalling and scary.
mhm,
I mean, I truly believe that they want to destroy our democracy
mhm,
and put Trump in as our dictator. If you take away the right to people vote
mhm,
or only accept the elections where Republicans win,
mhm,
what is that?
mhm,
They're trying to divvy up Jackson County, or not Jackson County. We're a part of the third CD, and they want
mhm,
to make the third CD more Republican by bringing
mhm,
in Clark County.
mhm,
So, so our House of Representative, our third CD congressman, will
mhm,
not be that. That'll go to a Republican.
mhm. Oh man. So how do you think that Biden's presidency has gone so far?
I think he's done a wonderful job. I think that the media does not cover him very much. He's not sexy. He's not, I mean, he's a positive speaker.
Mhm,
And because he doesn't bleed, he doesn't read. And so Trumpers and Trump get more attention because they're always throwing bombs. And but I think Biden has done a really good job. I like his infrastructure program here in Jackson County. We're able to benefit from that a lot.
mhm,
And I'm hoping that we can do more with Build Back Better, if not as a total package, certain parts of it, like I had mentioned, the child care. I hope they can
mhm,
bring that up as a single bill, because we
mhm,
really need a lot more help
mhm,
to increase the providers.
mhm,
And that's a real challenge.
mhm. Okay, so the next question will be moving on to the more so the repercussions of the election. So I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of separation and it's quite polarized. Like you either have to be one side or the other. It's kind of hard to find like a middle or some sort of general understanding. So how would you describe the polarization in our country? And was it worse at other times in your life or have we been here before?
Well, uh, during Nixon's Watergate, it
Mhm,
was terrible. But quite frankly, I never questioned his patriotism. I
mhm,
didn't care for his politics, and I could clearly see he was a criminal. And I watched those Watergate hearings from beginning to end, day after day after. I happened to not be working. I was
mhm,
staying home at the time, so I could watch it, and it was terrible.
Mhm.
On the other hand, as I said, I never questioned his patriotism, Nixon's patriotism. So I would say that this is the worst in my lifetime.
Mhm.
Close to this would be the Civil War.
Mhm.
I think Lincoln faced a huge dilemma with the outbreak of the Civil War, and his ability to finally unite the United States
Mhm.
was a huge win for him,
Mhm.
and he died for it. He was assassinated for it.
Mhm.
Yes, I think that this is a horrible time we're going through, and
Mhm.
I'm glad we have people with not just character but moral values
Mhm.
to guide us and direct us out of this situation.
Mhm. Okay. So it's definitely a problem, the
Yes,
polarization, for sure. Do you foresee it getting better or worse?
well, I think like a lot of things with time, it will work. If Trump doesn't get reelected,
Mhm.
I think we'll be okay. I think even before 2024, I think we will eventually, the supporters of Trump will begin to wane
Mhm.
or diminish. The
Mhm.
Republican Party has already diminished.
Mhm.
And I always have to remind people, remember, they're only 25% of the electorate.
Mhm.
So I pray that this too shall pass.
Mhm. Okay. So as we're nearing the end of our conversation, do you have any predictions for the country in general, whether it be like the party system or how voting works or like how they count the votes? What's something you see happening or wish would happen?
Well, I think that our election system needs to be. We all need to have the right to vote,
Mhm.
and so I'm hoping that that will improve.
Mhm.
That we have in well, I'll just stick with Wisconsin.
Mhm.
In Wisconsin, we have a very fair and balanced election program. How long the Republicans who happen to be in office will allow us to keep that, I don't know. I know they're struggling. They want to pass bills to make it harder to vote.
Mhm.
Was the rest of some of the rest of your question?
Um, what do you think? Do you have any predictions for like the voting system, the party system? So like whether there might be another one emerging or what?
Well, that's a good question because um, I was asked one time, stated, well, you don't like conservatives. And I said, I do like, I don't have anything against an Eisenhower, a Reagan, or a Bush Republican.
Mhm.
I never questioned their patriotism. And I didn't believe in their doctrine, but I
Mhm.
never questioned their patriotism.
Mhm.
So I don't know how all of those people who are following Trump's republicanism is going to be able to come back, because they've really put themselves in a corner.
Mhm.
And if Trump crashes, which he probably will,
Mhm.
what are they going to do? I don't know how this is all going to work out. I really
Mhm.
don't have any predictions at all.
Mhm.
I pray we do need a two-party system. We both play in the past have played off of each other very successfully, in terms of, as long as we work for the people,
Mhm.
working against people's interests.
Mhm.
I don't see how you get anywhere with that.
Mhm.
And right now, the Republican Party has no values. They have no issues. It's whatever Trump says. And Trump now
Mhm.
is wallowing in the big lie. I don't know
Mhm.
how you get elected with just that.
Mhm. I feel like some things might change. I'm not sure what exactly will change, but I feel like with
Yeah.
the younger generation coming in, I feel like my age of people are pretty like forward thinking and like working hard for change. So I don't know what's
Question,
gonna happen.
how old are you? How
I'm
old are you now?
17. I'm 17,
Okay,
about to
so,
turn 18 in a couple days.
okay, good.
Mhm.
So my concern
Mhm.
is I want you guys to vote.
Mhm.
I'm not going to tell you to vote Republican or Democrat, but I want you to vote. And I
Mhm.
want you to vote for the party that you think will do the most for your, for not just you personally, but for your
Mhm.
community, for the
Mhm.
county, for the state, for the
Mhm.
nation.
Mhm.
I'm the young people voting is hugely important
Mhm.
and to be outspoken. And I would really love to start a young person's Democratic Party, or not a party, but a political action group. I
Mhm.
think that would be really cool.
Mhm. That would be very good. So I started a little tradition on these podcast videos since we haven't done the history project like this before. So I am starting this little tradition of giving advice in each episode. Um, so I'll let you have a second to think of yours, but my piece of advice for today is to stay true to yourself and your beliefs, like go hard for something if you really believe it's right. And use your voice and make sure it's heard.
Vote.
Yes.
That's my mantra. You need to vote.
Mhm.
Vote your conscience. Vote for your whatever you feel is important.
Mhm.
Support the candidate that you think will help you to get the issues that you want taken care of,
Mhm.
but vote.
Yes, very good. Well, thank you for talking to me today, Miss Heller. I feel like it was good.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
fun.
Thank you. And that is
Good
a
luck.
wrap on today's episode. So thank you, everybody. And that is history as it happens.
Bye.
Bye.